Our next speaker is Kayt Shelledy. Kayt Shelledy is a 10th grader at the Galloway School and created the initiative It's Okay to Be Gay. Seeing a lack of resources for LGBTQ youth within the Association of Welcoming and Affirming Baptists, she wanted to fill that gap. Using social networking sites, she created a nationwide network of friends and allies who believed in the power of advocacy. Welcome, Kayt.
Thank you, everybody who's here. When I was in 5th grade, a guy who had a crush on me called me a lesbo because I didn't feel the same way about him. And I didn't know what that meant. So I asked my friend, and she told me that it was a slang term for lesbian. I didn't see anything wrong with that, but the way he said it made me feel like I had been made less of a person, or it was a judgment call on who I was as a person. And so I thought, okay, so am I lesbian? And I came to the conclusion that I wasn't, because when I was in kindergarten, there was this boy I liked, and he was my boyfriend, or as close to a boyfriend as you can have in kindergarten. There's this quote by Coco Chanel, who's the famous fashion designer, and it's, "Skin is skin." And that's what I believe. And you shouldn't be made to feel worse or lesser because of which gender you prefer. I grew up in the Oakhurst Baptist community, which is a welcoming and affirming Baptist church, something that you don't necessarily hear associated with Baptists in the South. Well, by welcoming and affirming, I mean they open their doors to LGBT youth, which is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning. This is a congregation full of movers and shakers, one of whom is in the audience, Nikki Noto, who's the manager of V-Girls, which is something to help empower women. Through the church, I found this thing called BPFNA, which is the Baptist Peace Fellowship of North America, though many people who aren't Baptist still go. It's about having a group of people who believe in peace and justice issues and are willing to make a change and a difference. When I was 9, I started going. And by the time I was 14, I had this wealth of information and this wealth of empowerment at my fingertips. This place is full of innovation and full of people who wanted to make a change. And I believed that I was ready to do that. I went to an AWAB meeting, which is Welcoming and Affirming Baptists, and I was not prepared for what would come from that, and I wasn't prepared for the empowerment that I would get from that. But I just watched them talk, and they talked a lot about money, and they talked a lot about computer skills, and anyone who knows me well knows that I'm not good at dealing with either one of those. And so I thought, well, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not good at this, but it turns out that I am, and that every single youth is, and every single youth can make a difference. And I found that there was this kind of gap or lacking of resources for youth and people who weren't necessarily Baptists or didn't follow the religion that AWAB was built around. And so I decided to help fix that. And so I created an initiative called It's Okay to Be Gay. It's Okay to Be Gay grew online from networking sites like Facebook. On Facebook, it's a closed community to help the anonymity of the people who are involved because, believe it or not, there are a lot of people who think that because of who you loved, you're less of a person, which is not what I believe at all. And so protecting these people was kind of the number one issue. And the second issue that we found is it was a network of people who cared about each other regardless of their religion or sexual orientation, regardless of their gender or their disabilities or their beliefs. It was a group of people from across the nation who had never met each other, most of them, and it was strangers supporting strangers. It was positive reinforcement for everything that you struggled with on a daily basis from somebody across the nation who had never met you, and it didn't matter because you had this community of people who believed in you and believed in who you loved and who you were. I was feeling very alone last year because I felt like just one person in this huge amount of issues in the world, and I didn't think that I had the individual power. Even though I saw a lot of change going on around me, we've been a presence at both of the gay pride marches since the organization has started, which I'm extremely proud of. And I'm extremely proud of the people working for this, but I still felt really, really, really alone. And I was asked, coincidentally, to give a talk to youth this past summer about becoming empowered and involved in their community, making change through activism and justice. And I was really honored. And I decided that I would do this, and it's an experience that changed my life. Because now it just wasn't me making a difference, now it was all of these other youth that could be empowered to make a difference. My first aha moment was finding it's okay to be gay, filling that gap. My second aha moment was teaching other people how to fill their own gaps in their own communities. And this is how I did it. I did it with a mentor, which is very important because you should always try to find people that you believe in and to get empowered from that. And first we asked a very simple question. What about your background? What about what makes you who you are? Can you give to other people to change your larger community and in turn change the world? And every single person in that room had one. Every single youth had something that they could use to make a change. Every single youth that you've heard today has had that same thing about them that they can make a change. And they've had the right circumstance, and they've gone after it, and they've made something, and they've changed their part of the world, and in turn made a ripple effect to change the world. Every single youth has this power. The next thing that we did was we went from, okay, so you have this power, you have this aspect of yourself that makes you different. How are you going to actually make some change? And there are 3 ways. First, social networking, which is very important in the modern world because things get done more efficiently and they get done quicker and you have more power and more connections. Secondly, talk to authority, talk to adults, talk to people who've been where you are, and make alliances within those people because even if you feel like you have all the answers, you don't. And there are people that can help you. And thirdly, you need to make changes by finding alliances throughout other youth groups and places like across the country or even across the world. There are 2 examples here tonight that every single person, but 2 come to mind. One about dressing up as Darth Vader and being interested in science and then making this cool biofuel cell and traveling to Bangladesh. And from that travels making a difference at home and see every single youth has this power. It's not just us. Everyone. And so I would like to leave you with this. Whether you're feeling helpless, confused, empowered, or inspired, you are not alone. You are surrounded by minors ready to make major changes. I intend to continue working with It's Okay to Be Gay and use AWAB and BPFNA as jumping off points. And I intend to try to continue to empower youth to make changes within their own lives and own communities. So, it's okay to be gay, but it's also okay to be you. Thank you.